I like the dog in the background. This is the Womier66. It is a stacked acrylic 65% with a, at least I would say, 0-degree typing angle. I mean, come on, look at this thing. There's no angle to it. Maybe nah, fuck it. This shit, it's got 0 angles on the board. The board comes with plate stabilizers. And Gateron blues. You have the option for other Gateron switches, but for some goddamn reason, I went with Gat blues. But anyways, I purchased this keyboard off of KP Republic for around $70. This keyboard legit took a month plus to get here. Now I'm not complaining, okay? I'm complaining. It was an in-stock board, you know. But yeah, in stock from like KP Republic is like, which is basically like buying something off of AliExpress. But at the time, I didn't know. I didn't know. Early into the keyboard game, didn't have any clue the keyboard would take that long to come in from China. But either way, I waited. So this keyboard is legit 0 degrees, and it was one of the boards that took quite some time for me to get used to. The keyboard is made of 3 pieces of acrylic, each being around the same thickness of around 5 millimeters. Keycaps are very thin. They're pretty much 1 millimeter thick, so nothing compared to your typical PBT keycaps from EBT or ABS keycaps from GMK. They feel like what you would expect, which is cheap. The keycaps are also scooped for all the keys, which is the reason it took me a while to get used to it. A lot of times I would try to go for another letter like Y, but instead hit the T. I use my left finger for Y sometimes, okay? Don't judge me. Just a minor complaint. I don't even know why I put it into the script. Stabilizers on this keyboard are okay. One thing I would have to say about the stabilizers are that they are not great out of the box. There's wire rattle, which indicates that the wires are not balanced and or the stabilizer require lubing. Also, the spacebar keycap wobbles, being that stabilizer does not stay flush with the case, so you would need to band-aid mod the board. Band-aid modding just means that you just stick a couple of pieces of band-aids where the stabilizer goes into the case, just so that there is a more snug fit with the case. PCB is a hot swap, so you can put your own switches into the board, take out the stock switches that the board comes with. One thing I have to say is that the acrylic plate for where the switches are placed into are pretty loose. Taking switches out of the board is for sure a breeze, being that the switches are not tightly placed into the board. Then when you remove the keycaps, taking switches out of the board is for sure a breeze, being that the switches are so loosely placed into the board that when you remove the keycaps, the switches come out with them. This can be both a plus and a minus, being that it can be a plus if you're removing a switch, but a minus if you just want to remove the keycaps. I don't fucking know. It's pleasing as well as frustrating for me, at least. Another thing about the board is that the PCB isn't screwed into place of any sort. If you pull all the switches out of the keyboard, the PCB would start moving around inside the case, and putting the switch back into the board is a bit of a hassle. I recommend, if you are getting the board, to keep at least 2 or 3 switches in the board, then replacing them with the new switches, then removing those previous switches to assure yourself that the PCB would not move around when replacing the switches of the board. But past all this, the keyboard is okay for what you're getting. The PCB is a hot swap, so you're basically paying for the PCB with this keyboard. I mean, acrylic and the keycaps aren't cheap, but I can guarantee you that the PCB is where most of the price is coming from. Typing experience after getting used to the keycaps is very pleasing to type on. It isn't as good as the likes of the more premium boards that are made of alu and like, I don't know what I'm saying, but like, you know what I mean. But it's got its own characteristics. Board is a low profile case, which means the switches are not hidden, which will affect the sound of the board. I mean, okay, TLDR, the board is pretty loud. I also added some other switches on the board to see what they sound like. To be honest with you, the linears are probably the best fit for the board, being that it is the most quiet out of all the other switches, but that's obvious with all boards. LEDs with all their pre-built LED configurations are a nice thing. It isn't the best LED job I've seen on a board, but it's good enough for the price. So it comes down to the question of, should you buy this board? It depends. For the price of the board, it's perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure there are other boards out there that have a much better build for that price of $70, but from what I've seen so far, I believe this is a perfectly fine board to use. The board is also hot swappable, so using this as a board to test out switches would definitely be a great option, being that the keyboard is very low priced. But if you are looking for a board that you would like to make your main driving board, try to reconsider your choices. Yes, the RGB and stuff like that are enticing, plus the hot swap PCP, but other than that, in my opinion at least, you're just spending your money for a PCB that isn't QMK supported, VIA supported, and incompatible to be used with other keyboard cases. But if you really want a board that is hot swappable, acrylic, and cheap, then this board is a pretty good option. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Go check out my other videos. If you like that content, hit that subscribe button. I also have a Twitch. We stream, or at least I try to stream, every Wednesdays and Fridays at 11 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/smilanddown. Here's a clip of some of the things that I do over there. Ah! Wait! I don't know why I didn't think it would. I don't know why I thought it was. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.